the network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
This is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
It's Tim Albright with AVNation, with an AVNation special, sitting down with my buddy, Mr. Bobby Sports from Starin Marketing. Welcome, sir.
Hello. Thank you, Tim, for having me, as always.
Absolutely. Last time you and I sat down, you had just become CEO. Some things have changed since then. I think actually the last time I physically saw you, some things have changed. And we're coming out of 21, going into 22. You know, if you're keeping track, we're 2 years into this pandemic, and some folks really haven't even left their house since late 19. Let's start with one of the first kind of overarching things that you and I at least haven't talked about, and that's the acquisition of Starin Marketing by Midwich. First question is kind of how has that been going from a Starin standpoint?
Well, timing really couldn't have been better. If you think about it, it was February 6th of 2020 when the acquisition happened, and we all know it happened exactly 1 month later. So from that perspective, really partnering with a group of over 30 distributors, much like ourselves around the globe, was really kind of a powerful influence. It provided a kind of a safety net, a lot of experience, and all in all, I don't think that's how an integration of companies would typically go. It definitely threw in some curveballs. But being able to rely on that partnership and that strength coming fresh off that acquisition was beneficial all across the board for the company.
You mentioned the kind of the global network of over 30 companies, much like yourself, much like Starin. Where do you see that global impact, that global footprint, really helping your clients here in the States?
So I don't know how other acquisitions globally have worked, but I know from the experience we've had here joining the Midwich group, one of the key benefits that we've seen immediately is the fact that the reason we found Midwich, or Midwich found us, is we were growing rapidly. We had opened our first London office. There was a requirement. Our customers, AV integrators, their customers, the end users here, they've been pushing to have consistency. If I roll out 50 rooms in the United States, I want standardized 2 in London, 2 in Italy, 3 in the UAE. How do we make all of that happen? So that caused our global expansion to start here, and it's really hard. So joining that network, what we've seen immediately is they've come and we really work together. It's not come in and change your business practices. What's the value you bring to the group? And so you have 30 unique offerings that do have one common theme. That's to serve our customers. So what we see coming here in the United States is those same types of things where our customers, the AV integrators, the end customers that they're serving, they want consistency globally. And AV integrators, it's hard to do. Different products, different relationships, different distributors. What we can do is help now weave into that mess and really sort it out so that you can have our customers can have a common set of solutions, a common set of contacts anywhere in the globe. So from Australia to the United States and every country in between, in reality, every region, we can help handhold those and make sure that there's a consistent level of support and service behind it.
We'll talk for a second about some of those relationships, because I think that's important. That doesn't get enough coverage, and that's the fact that you guys, Midwich as a whole, right, Starin here in the States and the various other locations, as dealers are expanding globally, one of the hurdles is developing those relationships with the manufacturers and with kind of the supply chain. You guys are already kind of there, right? And you're able to leverage those relationships and kind of help your clients walk through some of those hurdles.
Exactly. It comes from working with all of the vendors, being able to have all of the contacts already. So we learned it firsthand when we opened our London office, or just outside of London. It was hard. And we're like, how are we going to do this in 7 other countries in the next year? It was like, this is really complicated. being part of the group, it smoothed a lot of that out. And then where we can take it a step further is kind of the holy grail, I think. And through Midwich, we offer a global MI support and services program, which is total, complete solutions, warranties, assurance, 24/7 call contact center, all available to our resellers to sell. So think of it like a globally enabled follow the sun support network for room monitoring, all those things. All those services now we can bring in along with taking all the frustration out of the gear and just sourcing it, which is complicated in and of itself. We bring both those things together and it's just a part of more value into the AV industry. It's really kind of exciting. And all
Yeah.
done during COVID, which was probably not the best timing, but gives you a good opportunity.
Well, it does, and it kind of proves your worth, right? I mean, doing it during a pandemic. I mean, shoot, anybody can do this in a normal time, right? Let's make it interesting here, right? Let's throw a global pandemic and travel lockdowns and everything else at us, and you guys did it. Let's talk for a second about specifically Starin, right? Personally, right? I've got a lot of friends that work at Starin. You and I are buddies, are personal relationships there. So talk for a second about what has changed specifically at Starin since the acquisition.
Absolutely. So I took over the role of CEO here in January officially, and this bodes a lot to the management of the group, and it was really empowering to be able to say, okay, what is your vision? The pandemic was a scramble. How do we all survive? How do we adapt and change?
Yeah.
We did well with that. So then coming into 2021, there's a lot of hope. We've all felt it. The vaccine was on the way, and we sat down, and Bill retired out, and I said, Bobby, what's your vision for the company? What do we want to change? Where do we want to be when we grow up, if you will? So I was taking it as kind of looking at it as a new company in those regards.
Yeah.
So, it might sound a little corny, but we started off with a policy. We changed our motto internally, and we decided to look internally a lot. And our motto changed to care more, be better. That was care more for each other, care more for our customers, care more for our vendors, be better than we were the day before, be better in every aspect, be better for our customers, be a little bit better than the competition, always incrementally improving. And it's easy to say, but that was, okay, how do we put our money where our mouth is? And that's, first you got to focus internally. And that's really what 2021 was about, was saying, first, what are we best at? What are my people? If I don't care for the people here, nothing else matters. You can't serve customers well if you don't. You have to emanate that. So we ended up spending the year kind of slowly reorganizing the company and focusing on what's best for our people. What are we already best at? And that changed the dynamic. It became, all right, our strengths are in UC and education, always have been. Over the years, Starin's expanded. We had different divisions and things. And what that really caused was taking a good hard look inside is let's just focus on what we are the absolute best and bring more value and more focus for our people. Because people who are focused, it's a simple message, be the best at that. With that, we had to take a hard look at brands. We had to look at markets that we were in and really start to refocus and change what value we bring to our services and what fits in Starin and what doesn't fit anymore, what we've changed out of.
Well, you mentioned some of the kind of the changing out. You've added some lines here recently, which we'll get to in a second, but you also parted ways with some companies as well. Why was that? Is that kind of that internal focus and figuring out what exactly it is that Starin does well?
Definitely, and it came down to they're brands that most people have probably seen leave Starin here in the past year, and it was mutually beneficial at these points. When we redefined our focus, it said what fits into that UC ecosystem, what fits into the education ecosystems that we were going to focus on, and if I was going to focus on those, our company was going to focus on those, it means I couldn't focus on those. I couldn't provide the service that we're known for to these other areas. I was be spreading too thin. So it became just a mutually understand we have to part ways in best interest for certain brands, and that happens, and that's just a part of the growth. And doors are still always open in the future where things happen, but right now it had to make some hard decisions, and it was in the best interest of both parties for sure across the board in each situation.
Yeah. You've talked about already the focus on the UC and the education space. How does Starin focusing on UC specifically help your dealers?
So that's been the banner of 2021 here, is how do we focus on taking these things and what is being the best or being better at these things if we're going to focus on them. I mean, moving in 2021, we've almost doubled our customer facing employees.
Oh, wow.
So that's been through. So in the middle of the pandemic, we've been growing. Part of that, about half that, has been through hiring and bringing in key people. And when you find good talent who has the right values, you onboard it. The other part then is just optimizing internally, where once we have that focus with all these programs, you have Rockstar's team over here that nobody ever knows because they only work on one project. A Rockstar team over here, bringing all of them forward and bringing these specialties to bear for our entire dealer network. So last year, we over doubled our customer-facing components as team members, and we plan on doing that again this year, or close to that. So really, those resources, it comes now to personalized service or getting more personalized service, better response and faster response times, knowing that in UC or in education, we not only just have the right brands that we can ship you, but we truly have expertise from technical design and solutions consulting at free of charge. That's what we're here for. But all of that trickles down through all of our teams. So we have the ability to give personalized, detailed service and still be flexible to customer needs. It's not, well, that was the rule, we have to make it happen. We live in a pandemic time now. We've gotten used to, if you're new, something new happens all the time. Our job here is to be flexible because we understand firsthand how disruptive this has been. And we want to have the empathy to our customers and be able to show that with, here's the expertise we have. Here's how we can change for you. We understand the problems, the needs that are coming out, and we want to make sure that we can solve those. So really it just comes to more resources, Tim, so that we can care more and be a little bit better and continue accruing on that.
Well, let's talk for a second about how then that helps their customers, right? So how does you guys being flexible and you putting more and more, customer-facing employees just on the front lines, how does that help the dealer, provide service and provide integration services for their customers, for the AV users?
So probably two different examples of that, to be specific then, is one is the support services that we can now offer through MI Support. Those are value adds that allow end customers of demand. They want entire rooms. They just want simplicity. They don't want it complicated. And we need to be able to offer services that our resellers can make money on and sell, that their customers want. They want entire rooms monitored. They want entire rooms warranted, not individual components. Some customers, some integrators already offer that, others don't. We need to be able to help consolidate that, but basically whatever the demand is, from HOS programs, hardware as a service that a dealer can offer because cash is strapped at the end user, or they can't make a CapEx expenditure that wasn't planned, or just the bigger one is probably coming down to the supply chain. We've all felt that. We all see that every day. Being able to focus, what that's really led us to do is, we're I think the only distributor in the world right now that has all four of the biggest appliance manufacturers for UC. Obviously, appliances are a big deal. You need a camera. We need to communicate. It's changing constantly. You need to be cost effective. But D10, Neat, Poly, Logitech, we have all four. For Teams and Zoom. There was a reason. It's, might call me out and say, well, you said you didn't want to be a farm. How many projector lines do you have, Bobby? You don't collect brands. And that's true. But when we have this focus, it's been really important because what that's allowed us to do is now that we have the expertise to know how all these ecosystems work, and we have all of these keystone brands in here, is if there's a problem with supply in one area and an end customer desperately needs something, we have the ability to help steer somebody into another product as needed to make sure that we can always have a right solution to keep an end customer up and working, not just saying, well, it might be 6 to 12 weeks. Oh, that might be 12 to 30. Oh, hey, it might be 42 weeks now. Who knows? We've seen it all. But it's about helping to move through those supply chain logistics and having the agility then I don't have to order all these different markets of product. I can say, I'm going to be deep here and I'm going to be deep here, and know that I have solutions for my customers as best as possible to keep those lead times down.
Absolutely. We've mentioned brands a couple of times. Significant announcement here in December. Adding Shure as a, and when we get this right, Starin is now a master distributor for Shure. What does that mean, first and foremost? What does master distributor mean?
Well, it means here in the United States, we are a strictly and only B2B distributor. So we are purely here to help facilitate the growth. I mean, it started with Shure's acquisition of STEM. We were a STEM distributor, fit right into the ecosystem. Shure's a legendary brand, and as we went through our portfolio, we did have people need audio, they need mics. Shure's got a lot of great, strong solutions. It was easy to make introductions through STEM, and things just made sense. Again, rounding out the solutions. They have a great set of conference room, larger solutions, as well as the glue and the mics that people need every day, from both hybrid workstations, remote work like I'm doing right here, straight through the conference rooms as those start to come back in a big way. It really just rounds out a lot of the solutions that we offer and made sense for both parties.
Well, and you kind of illustrated from a product standpoint why that makes sense, especially as Starin's focusing more on UC and education. What then does Starin bring to the Shure Group?
Really, might have to ask Shure to confirm it, but I would be led to believe it was that focus. Is we're not here to just move boxes or devalue. I'm here to grow our specialty in those areas. What that means is having the right products, bringing the right expertise, and really generating net new business in those areas. We know the ecosystems, we know teams, so we're going to move that forward, and we're going to take those markets and make sure that we offer the best experience for the brands as they come through.
As we wrap up here, I'm hesitant to ask anybody anymore their predictions, right? Especially anything longer than 3 years. But we're kicking off 22, right? Take a look at the next 12 months, maybe, right? What does this next 12 months mean for Starin? What does it mean for your brands, and what does it mean for your customers?
Ooh, 3 good ones. Here at Starin will probably be the easiest because that's the one I can control.
Yeah.
Here at Starin, we've been quiet this last year because there's been a lot of internal adjustments, changes, growth. And so I see 2022 here as the expansion of that now. We're not going to be so quiet. We've put in kind of a new foundation in place, new people, new faces, new brands, and a new clear focus. And we want to be able to now loudly say, this is who we are, this is what we do, and these are the values we're going to bring. And we'll continue to adapt that over the year, which gets into we don't know what the industry has in store for us this year. We have hope. We all have hope. We're all getting, I think, a little bit more pragmatic about that hope. But last year in June, we saw, I think the total industry saw it, is everybody, corporate America had definitive plans to come back to office. Mm-hmm. And what we saw was projects, quotes, specifications. Business just exploded for a brief second across the board. Everybody was happy and like, here it comes. Rooms were being loaded like crazy. All these people who moved to UC platforms were like, if we come back to the office, those hundreds of rooms, we have to figure out what to do with them really fast. It was beautiful. It really was beautiful. And then, there was the second wave that really happened there. That hope has just been pushed back, I think. What we know is that the facts are work is different. We're going to live in a hybrid work. I mean, you can read Forbes, Bloomberg, any of these places and see what's going to happen. Everybody's forecasting something new, and we're not going to be going back to work in the same way. What that means is we have to be adaptable. There'll be an influx of rooms. There'll be a continued hybrid work solution. Exactly what that looks like, it's some type of mix of home and appliance and different type of room setups based on somebody's going to define what new rooms need to look like, but till everyone's back in the office, who knows? So what we know there is the industry, we have hope in 2022 that things that will start to continue to stabilize a little bit, but exactly what that is, we just have to remain agile for it.
That is an incredibly very warm and fuzzy answer, and I love it. We look at as we sit here, right? We're looking at events, we're looking at big events and small events, and as those may or may not happen, more regionalized events. And I've said this several times publicly. I really think that 22 is going to be the year of kind of hyper local get-togethers, but smaller and safer. When you look at the industry as a whole, whether that's live events, whether that is integration, whether that's UC, education, what do you think that this next 12 months is going to do for our industry when it comes to proving that we're flexible, proving that we're adaptable, proving that, what, first of all, you need AV, you always have, and now even more because we are kind of the glue that brings everybody back together in some way, shape, or form?
Well, we all are hoping. We all hoped last year for the events to come back, and we're continuing that into this year, it looks like, after a string of cancellations. I think eventually, no matter what, we've got to get back to, because while we all bring the gear together and the gear's interesting and we all do that, but here in the industry is just a bunch of comrades. You and I started with this. It'd be nice to have some fun. And at the end of the day, while shows were a lot of work, it was a time for us across the industry to bond. It was fun. We met each other. We socialized outside. It's kind of a simple premise. So regardless of whether it's big shows now or small shows, I think that's going to be an important focus here for us is we have to make it smaller, regionalized. But I think the biggest part that's missing, we're still communicating. We're good at that. But where's the aspect of fun that really creates those relationships that are durable and that drive innovation forward? I mean, most of the greatest ideas in the industry over the last decade since I've been here have been people who have had chats while having fun. And those personal, outside of the grind, and just here's an idea or a problem. And then somehow years later that becomes the solution that drives our industry forward. If we don't bring back those relationships, that kind of intermingling of ideas, I fear we have a drought coming of new ideas in the future. So it's going to be on all of us to make sure we remedy that one way or the other and bring back some of the fun to the industry.
Absolutely. I love that. All right, Bobby Swartz from Starin Marketing. Somebody wants to connect with you or Starin. How do they do that?
You can find us at starin.biz, on LinkedIn, Starin Marketing, at Starin Marketing, or you can find myself on both those on Twitter at the Bobby Swartz.
All right, very good. Bobby Swartz from Starin Marketing. Thank you so much, sir. For us, for AVNation, go by our website, avnation.tv. It's avnation.tv. Find more programs like this and all that and more at avnation.tv.